So today let us understand about how transportation would happen in the case of the plants. When you give water to the plants near the roots, all the parts of the plant look fresh, and we know that food is getting manufactured in the leaves of the plant and that is getting transported to all the parts. How this will happen? What is the amazing system that is present in the plants? Yes, it is a transport system that is present in the plants which will help in this process of moving across the water and food to all the parts of the plant. So what is this transport system? The transport system in the case of plants is made up by two vascular tissues, that is the xylem and phloem. There are two vascular tissues, namely the xylem and phloem, that will be helping in the process of transportation in the case of the plants. Okay, so xylem, in the lower classes we have learned that xylem, it will help in transport of water in the case of the plants, and phloem will help in the transportation of food. So actually you can imagine that these vascular tissues are just like straws. So when you give water to the plant near the roots, this straw called the xylem will pick up the water and transport it to all the parts. Likewise, okay, the food, when it is present within the leaf, from there it will be transported to all the parts through the vascular tissue which will be called the phloem. So these two are the complex vascular tissues which will be helping in the transportation process in the plants. So apart from this, okay, water also is getting transported because of what is called root pressure and also because of transpirational pull, because of the transpirational pull. Okay, so what is root pressure? The pressure which is exerted, okay, by the water molecules within the roots is what is called root pressure. Okay, it is called the root pressure will be building up because of forces called as the cohesive forces and adhesive forces. There are two important forces that will be operating within the plants, cohesive and adhesive forces. What are cohesive forces? The forces which will help in keeping the water molecules attached to one another. So these are the water molecules. So in the case of the plant, when from the roots, okay, the water molecules, when they enter the roots like that, they keep attached to one another because of forces called as the cohesive forces. And there are another type of forces called adhesive forces. Adhesive forces will make the water molecules attached to the plant part, that is the stem and the root portion. Okay, the water molecules can get attached to the stem or the root portions of the plant because of the adhesive forces, and they will prevent the water molecules from falling off by gravity. So these two forces, namely the cohesive forces and adhesive forces, are the one which are responsible for the root pressure, which will be helping in pulling up the water to the upward parts of the plant. Okay, so apart from this, we have what is called as the transpirational pull. What is this transpirational pull? When from the top regions of the plant, water is getting evaporated, more water is sucked from the bottom to the top level. Okay, it will be sucked from the bottom to the top level, which is called the transpirational pull. So because of these two properties of root pressure and the transpirational pull, water will be pulled upwards through the xylem to all the parts of the plant. Okay, and from phloem actually the food will get transported to all the parts of the plant. Okay, so how we can know actually xylem and phloem are the actual mediators of transportation in the case of plants? Xylem actually, okay, you can show through a simple experiment. You take a twig of a plant, a small twig you can take, okay, cut the top portion and then put it in water which is having some colored ink in it. You keep it overnight. In the morning, okay, you can see that the portion of the stem, okay, will acquire the color of the ink. That is, from the roots, the water is getting sucked through the xylem to the stem portion, wherein the color of the ink also develops in the stem portion. So this indicates that actually xylem is transporting the water in the case of the plants. Okay, likewise for the phloem also you can do a simple experiment wherein, okay, so if you can catch hold of an insect, okay, which is sucking the fluid from the phloem, the food from the phloem, you can cut the proboscis of the mouth portion of the insect and you can observe that actually some sugar type of substance will drip through the proboscis portion. Okay, so through that you can confirm that actually phloem is the one which is transporting the sugary material or the food material in the case of plants. So this is how on the whole root pressure, okay, will help in transport of water, particularly through xylem in the case of plants. Hope you understood.